the ultimate listening experience in up to 2 cars and stream anywhere with 2 app logins. Enjoy our greatest content, opportunities for live VIP experiences, and prioritize customer care. Plus, get access to over 5,000 audio and video concert recordings through nugs.net. Call 844-711-8800 and become a VIP. Offer details apply. Not available in Canada.
Feel the energy of 8 decades of hits.
You're unbelievable.
That made summer even hotter. The Billboard Top 500 Summer Hits Countdown. For a limited time, starting Saturday on Channel 105. And all summer long on the SiriusXM app. Just search Summer Sounds.
SiriusXM celebrates Black Music Month with Black Music Forever, a limited edition channel with hip-hop, R&B hits, and breaking music from Black artists. Black Music Forever, throughout the month in the SiriusXM app. SiriusXM.com/BMM for more info. Greatest albums. And go deep into the musical world of the notorious B.I.G. on a channel featuring all his legendary rhymes and stories from those who knew him best.
Whether it was party joints or songs about his life and times in Brooklyn.
Notorious Radio throughout Black Music Month in the SiriusXM app. And now, for a limited time, on Channel 79.
There you go now.
I think everything.
Oh, that's it. Okay. You gotta get this. You gotta get this. Okay.
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs, and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at equityzonemortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you, as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast. Listen to 018-14868.
There's plenty of uncertainty on who and in what order the very top of this draft will take, though it could be another French export or two at the top. Alex Sarr, 7-footer from Bordeaux, is atop many mock boards, while others projecting 6'8" wing Zachary Rissache of Lyon, France, to perhaps be the first pick. And back stateside, some like 7-footer Donovan Clingan, who, by the way, grew up about 4 miles from these ESPN studios in Bristol, Connecticut, and it was fresh off back-to-back championships at UConn. So the top of this draft, not considered one of the strongest in recent vintage, but it is said to be much more fruitful in the middle, unpredictable. Maybe the word of the night. The top 3 picks belong in this order as we speak. The Hawks number 1, then the Wizards, then on to Houston. The Spurs, who pick 4th, also select 8th. They are tied for the most picks in this draft with 5. Portland also has 5, including 2 lottery picks at 7 and 14. And one of those picks, bomb hit a short time ago, that the Wizards are trading Denny Abdia to Portland for Malcolm Brogdon and that 14th.
So a lot of these teams will, sometimes you always draft the best player. Some of these teams I think are going to be drafting for need because there's a hard to differentiate these guys, and the expectations are kind of low, if you want my honest opinion of it.
Well, it's amazing because 12 months ago you're in Paris, France. How many times? The Victor Wembanyama show, and then off to Summer League and the great season he had, and nobody expected the Atlanta Hawks to win the lottery of all teams.
They didn't.
They're kind of stuck in the middle, and with the new, first and second aprons and the amount of money you got to pay a rookie, this is actually obviously a complicated decision. Do we have a feel what the Hawks are going to do here at number one?
Yeah, there's a little bit of interesting things that's happened to them. They're really probably deciding between the two young French players, Zachary Richelet, who is a very good sized wing, 6'9". He still needs to develop his body, but has a lot of tools and is a good passer and does a lot of things well, defends well. He's a very safe pick. He has a very good chance of being a quality pro for a long time. Then you have Alex Sarr, who's 7'1", rangy.
Enough! Wake up! Grando Deportes! Bonjour! Vidi Vidi Vici! Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Jonathan of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the number one network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the number one sports show in the universe, according to me and people who love the universe, the NBA draft, and reparations now, reparations forever. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. But you gotta choose to put some hot sauce on those collard greens, and that's what I'm trying to do, hot sauce on the collard greens. I don't mind sharing what other people do, but I want to bring you some spice to those collard greens. I want to tell you what a beautiful day. It's the NBA draft, Wednesday, June 26, 2024. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. When you go by and test drive yours, tell them sent you, where the good Lord split you. And hopefully the good Lord didn't put you too wide. All's fair in love and war. I love bringing in the NBA draft in Deer Hills, California, but I don't mind sharing what other people are doing, because sharing is caring. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Also, just want to make sure that people understand. You can follow the Big C Sports Podcast, and I always produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast all the shows. I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We can all use more laughter in our life. Wilma! That's where Fred Flintstone's dead. In the Flintstones, when he wanted his woman to come to him. Wilma! I had to put some Wilma on the NBA draft. It's just my story, and I'm going to stick with it, if that makes sense, Jim. I want to tell you, the commercials are done, the stats are provided, the storytelling, I even do that play-by-play. Steph Curry for three! Yes! Get the hole in your life! I'm telling you, when he came out of Davidson, people said he was not big enough, he was not fast enough, but they figured out after a while he worked on his game, and he just got better and better and better. Like Big C Sports Podcast wants to get better and better and better. I upload the show. It goes out to 29 podcast platforms out of New York City, and then unlike the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, it goes out to 4 TV platforms streaming: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. And then not only that, I've never missed a show since starting Big C Sports back in the day with the crew at Salem Media. I'm telling you, those days were something else at Salem Media. We had so much fun bringing the Wall Street Business Network sports. It was talking sports. We had some great ratings. And then some good old boys said, if they can do it, we can do it. And they created shenanigans. And I let you hear some of the shenanigans. Kind of the dry toast that you heard before Big C said, enough! May lightning strike! Oh, friend number one. Everybody has their own flavor. Some people say I talk too slow. Too slow! Yeah, some people say I talk too slow. And then some people say I talk too fast. Too fast! You can't please everybody. You do what you can. And that's my third I'm thinking with it. I do want to say what I love about Big C Sports Podcast. And I want to say, I'm telling you, on every show, I pay homage to the Veterans Crisis Hotline, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. You know anybody going through issues, they really are experienced. Helping veterans and their loved ones get help. 800-273-8255. 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give it some praise, because we all need somebody to lean on, especially when somebody's leaning back. It's a lot better when somebody's leaning back. Wilma! I've been thinking about the Flintstones lately, because Wilma and Betty Flintstone, they were always leaning back. If that makes sense. I do want to say, as I mentioned before, I want to say thank you to Xfinity Comcast TV and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, He said, "Let there be light," and then light appeared. I love the way light appears. I gotta say, unlike some of the other people on the mothership, and they stick to their script. I don't have a script. I don't have a script, and I don't slip when I come from the hip. That's paying homage to the great Tim and Marvell on One Gun, Wide World of One Gun, and they talk about reparations, and I really do appreciate that. There's a lot of great things that go on in the world of sports. But for the Barclays Center NBA draft, I will get into that with Big C Sports Podcast. But what I wish they would do, because most of those beautiful, intelligent black men that are being drafted by the NBA, the National Basketball Association, there was a time they could not be drafted by the National Basketball Association because they said, no non-series DNA allowed. What's non-series DNA, Big C? Google it. I want to tell you, I love this time of year. I love the sports business. I love so many things about life that lets people get out and compete. And just the thrill of victory is the agony of defeat. You play it to win the game. And speaking of agony of defeat, if you walk too much in some cowboy boots, you will have some agony of defeat. If that makes sense, I went down to the Senate today in Denver Hills, California, and there was supposed to be a hearing, and they postponed. They tabled it, and they pushed it back to next week. And so obviously it's about reparations, Senate Bill 1331, Senate Bill 1304, and Senate Bill 1050. And sometimes they just table things, keep a positive mind. All's fair in love and war. They keep a positive mind. Things are going to look out fine. But I want to make sure with Big C Sports Podcast, unlike some of the other people, they don't care about the past. They care about now. But I believe in championing the Just Act for the descendants of child slavery. And the United States Department of Justice, they understand what the Just Act did for descendants of Holocaust. Google the Just Act and make sure that descendants of child slavery are included in that next. Tomorrow we have the presidential debates. We have incumbent president, my goodness, he better wake up, Joe Biden. And we have past president, 34 indictments, Donald Trump. And then Dr. Cornel West, he's an independent. And they've excluded him from the debate. He's the only one to talk about reparations. And they excluded Dr. Cornel West from the debate. They're only going to have some two Caucasian men. And you would think they would let everybody compete for the right to speak. Dr. Cornel West is a very brilliant man, very erudite man, but he's not being invited to the president of the debate, even though he's a top independent candidate. That must tell you something. Well, we are the press. And I want to make sure that with Big C Sports Podcast, I talk about that because he should not be ostracized from the candidates that are going to be talking about what they think we want to hear when it comes to becoming the next president of the United States. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. As you know, I want to say I'm the only sports show in the universe that champions reparations. I do it every show. I wish other brethren would do it, but they only want to see our black men and run up and down the court playing with balls. I've been playing with balls my whole life. Wilma! But I never got almost $60 million to do it. And a lot of these players are getting that kind of money. Not the rookies, but some of the veteran players. And it's enticing to a lot of people. And sometimes they don't pay homage to where they came from. But I do, because I want to do things my way. What did Luke Campbell say? He said, I did it my way. That wasn't Luke Campbell. That was Frank Sinatra, you see? Okay, but Luke Campbell saying the same thing. He just didn't get credit for it, like Dr. Cornel West is not getting credit for being a top independent candidate running for president of the United States. And to me, that's almost a shame. It really is almost a shame. I went to the California Appropriations Committee today, the assembly hearing. It was set at the 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and they actually tabled it. So they're gonna push it down the road. They said they're gonna do it next week, and went in with Chris Lodges and talked with and Kim Mims and Tony Harvey for the black press. and they mentioned they're going to table it for next week. Also, I believe Ms. Crumdev was there with us as well, too. But I want to say, I know it's the NBA draft, but there would not be a draft of NBA African-American basketball players had it not been for civil rights. Oh, there you go again, Big C, talking about those civil rights. I'm telling you, there would not be an NBA basketball draft with African-American players had it not been for the civil rights movement. May lightning strike. Give praise to the civil rights movement. You got to give praise to it. Give some praise to it. Because sometimes people think, oh, things have always been great. Hasn't always been great. I'm going to talk about some things that are important. And I only have an hour to do it, so I got to do it fast. But I want to say I love paying homage to the California Reparations Task Force. In fact, I was just down by the Secretary of State building today. I want to give praise to the Honorable, inimitable Dr. Shirley Weber. She's the Secretary of the State of California. She helped come together with the task force, come together with California Senator Stephen Bradford and other senators. But California Governor Gavin Newsom, he mandated the task force, but it was the ideas of Dr. Shirley Weber, Secretary of State, California. I want to give praise to the task force. The chair, Camila Moore, she's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Amy C. Brown. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to give praise to California Senator Stephen Bradford. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. In fact, I saw him walking today. I was talking to Double O that was also coming to the meeting, and she said, "Isn't that Senator Bradford walking?" But he had a different door to walk through with the press clearance. But that brother's brilliant, and I really love giving him praise what he's doing with the California Reparations Task Force. I want to also give praise to Council Member Monica Montgomery Stepp. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Assembly Member Reginald Jones Sawyer. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Shell Grills. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to our attorney, Lisa Holder. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. She specializes in name, image, and likeness. There are a lot of people that are advocating for the right thing, doing the right thing for descendants of chattel slavery, just like the Just Act. I want to give praise to Dr. Javon Scott Lewis, professor at California Berkeley. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. Oh my goodness. I want to give praise to attorney Donald K. Tamaki, Japanese American lawyer, who's also part of the California Reparations Task Force, and his family has already received reparations. Not as much as the Just Act that the United States Department of Justice put together and made sure it happened. I would like to say, let's do the same thing for descendants of chattel slavery. If you believe in fairness, give it some praise. I say give it praise, because I really do believe it's the right thing. And I love doing the right thing. I know you want to hear the NBA draft, but the draft would not be possible had it not been for civil rights. There's so many things that are so necessary as we talk about civil rights and what's important, but I want you to hear the most powerful speaker in the history of the universe.
Martin Luther King, we had a conversation a couple days ago about handouts and how these right-wing memes, these Republican memes, have infiltrated the Democratic debate to suggest that, ending welfare as we know it, all those kind of things are somehow, great and noble things, when we're not dealing with the underlying problem, which is that there's no economic opportunity there because of insane trade policies and because of Reaganomics. And Martin Luther King spoke to this. Jim and Shane, this is clip number 4. Martin Luther King spoke to this sometime back in the early 60s. And I thought this was a really interesting quote. Here he is.
The problem. At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, Today, many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
From his speech, The Two Nations of Black America, and it's absolutely brilliant. And the next time some white person talks about, well, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps and my family did too, especially the Bundy boys. I mean, here's Martin Luther King, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., talking about how basically whites stole the West from the Indians with the and didn't just steal it. I mean, murdered them, and murdered the Indians in the process, and did not give any of these benefits to African Americans for 100 years in this country. It's a strong case for reparations or some variation on it, for rebuilding our cities, for doing right after having done wrong for so many centuries. It is a very, very strong case for that.
Reparations now, reparations forever. Reparations now, reparations forever. I love reparations. Reparations forever. Reparations now. I want you to hear just a small piece from an attorney, Augustus Corbett. And there's so many things that we need to hear about reparations, but listen to his thoughts on reparations versus the NBA draft.
I was saddened and infuriated when I read that the Oklahoma Supreme Court had denied the claims of the last survivors of the Tulsa race massacre. Again, it made me mad, and it saddened me, because I read the opinion from top to bottom, and I think it's unjustified, quite frankly. There is some hope. I'm going to share what I believe that hope is, and I also believe that this opinion can help us, those of us around the country, who are also in the process of demanding reparations nationwide. So stay with me. I'm going to walk you through this opinion.
Now think about the defiant lawyers, a lawyer's point of view on reparations, as we're all around the country watching the NBA draft. That would not be possible had it not been for civil rights, but not anybody outside of Big C Sports talks about it. Listen up, your thoughts.
Hello, everybody. I am attorney Augustus Corbett, one half of the Defiant Lawyers. Each and every week, we bring you at least one legal analysis of some trending story regarding politics, policies, personalities, or pop culture to empower you with the information you need to defy an unjust legal system and to nullify systemic racism. If that interests you, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and click the bell so you'll get notified every time we upload one of our powerful and informative videos. Again, thank you for joining me. And before we get started, go over to Amazon, grab a copy of my book. If you have young boys in the public school system, you need my book because it will help you become your son or son's strongest advocate. All right, so we're going to get into this case. As I said at the top of this video, this opinion made me sad and it infuriated me. And I'm going to tell you why. We're going to go through it. I'm going to walk you through this opinion. All right. Now, some of you have said that my videos tend to be long, and I must admit that they do tend to be long. But there are three very legitimate reasons for that. Number one, I am an attorney. So as an attorney, I am trained to present facts, receipts, so that I can establish the case that I'm making. Number two, as you know, I'm a minister. And there too, I'm trained to bring the facts and the receipts. And third of all, my undergraduate degree and my first job out of college was that of a research chemist. And as you can imagine, scientists are trained to bring what? Facts. So I can't help it. I just cannot just give you a bunch of opinions like so many YouTubers do. I'm going to bring the beef. I'm going to bring the facts. I'm going to bring the receipts so that you'll have something solid to stand on. All right?
Reparations now, reparations forever.
Tulsa race massacre, what we call Black Wall Street. And it really was a thriving African American community. Thriving. Now, I want to show you some information that has been preserved actually in Oklahoma statutes. So here are the Oklahoma statutes, citationized state government findings of the 1921 Tulsa Race Riot Commission. Let me read a few things to you to show that this is really as tragic as it is reported to be. So this is what the state of Oklahoma itself determined happened. The documentation assembled by the 1921 Tulsa Race Riot Commission provides strong evidence that some local, municipal, and county officials failed to take actions to calm or contain the situation once violence erupted, and in some cases became participants in the subsequent violence which took place on May 31st and June 1st, 1921, and even deputized and armed many whites who were part of a mob that killed, looted, and burned down the Greenwood area. The staggering cost of the Tulsa race riot included the deaths of an estimated 100 to 300 persons, the vast majority of whom were African Americans, the destruction of 1,256 homes, virtually every school, church, and business, and a library and hospital in the Greenwood area, and the loss of personal property caused by rampant looting by white rioters. The Tulsa Race Riot Commission estimates that the property cost in the Greenwood district was approximately $2 million in 1921 dollars, or almost $17 million in 1999 dollars. Nevertheless, there were no convictions for any of the violent acts against African Americans or any insurance payments to African American property owners who lost their homes or property, personal property, as a result of the Tulsa race riot.
May lightning strike! Reparations now! Reparations forever! Reparations forever! Contrast this to the NBA draft that was made possible by civil rights. And as co-chair of the National Black Wall Street Project, I want you to see what's owed to descendants of chattel slavery, just like the Just Act. Listen to these numbers.
District was approximately $2 million in 1921 dollars, or almost $17 million in 1999 dollars. Nevertheless, there were no convictions for any of the violent acts against African Americans or any insurance payments to African American property owners who lost their homes or property, personal property, as a result of the Tulsa race riot. Now, let me go back and point out that they found that virtually every school, church, every business, library, and hospital in the Greenwood area was destroyed. Get a load of that. I mean, that was just disastrous. Those people had to build all over again. And they never got any insurance money, any compensation. No one was ever held accountable. No one was ever indicted. That was devastating. And see, the thing is, this happened across the country. We hear about Tulsa. But just 2 years before that, in 1919, they called it Red Summer. Many other black communities were destroyed. And throughout this Jim Crow period, while we're talking about Jim Crow, so we had more marriages during Jim Crow, but Jim Crow was awful. There was nothing good about Jim Crow. So we had more marriages and more families. That's a good thing. I don't begrudge that. As I said in the previous video, that's probably what got us through these horrific days. But let's not reminisce about Jim Crow. Let's not look back to Jim Crow. Jim Crow was horrible. It was horrible. Some of you young people just don't know what Jim Crow was all about.
Reparations now! Reparations forever! Reparations forever! So I know with tonight's NBA draft, they have most of our young black men fixated on the fact that you too can believe in miracles and become the next NBA player. But not one NBA franchise is owned by an African American or descendant of child of slavery. Michael Jordan has a co-ownership, but he's the greatest player in the history of the game. Most of these white people that own these NBA teams, they weren't great. They're part of the Homestead Act that gave over 300 million acres of land to white people. And many of them come as descendants of Holocaust that got reparations with Congress and the United States Justice Department. So we sit around, can't wait to stand up for the tip-off. But the Oklahoma Supreme Court, they denied the repair and the reparations to those beautiful, intelligent black people that were burned out. And the Supreme Court, the same Supreme Court that could sign reparations now, reparations forever, they said no.
So this particular area, this prosperous black community was devastated, just devastated. And again, to the tune of $2,019,021 and almost $17,019,99. And we're talking now 2024. So that has gone up even more than that. And that's why it just personally frustrated and infuriated me that the Oklahoma Supreme Court denied these plaintiffs' claims. Moreover, this goes on to say, moreover, local officials attempted to block the rebuilding of the Greenwood community by amending the Tulsa Building Code to require the use of fireproof material in rebuilding the area, thereby making the cost prohibitively expensive. So not only did they destroy it, not only was no one held accountable, not only did the plaintiffs and many other families, black families there, not only did they not receive anything, but those racist, white supremacist, evil people changed the law to stop them from rebuilding.
Reparations now, reparations forever.
I don't even like that term. This was a massacre. This was almost, for that area, almost an act of genocide. Almost 300 people were killed, maybe more than that. And property destroyed. And here we are 100 years later, and the Oklahoma Supreme Court denies these people their claims. If that doesn't tell you that the United States of America will fight us hard over the issue of reparations, I don't know what else you need. All right, so we're going to again look at this case. I want to pick some things out of the Oklahoma Supreme Court's order, final order, denying their claims, and show you the craziness, in my opinion, of this order. All right, let's go back to the other screen. And we'll start looking at the case. The name of the case is Randall v. City of Tulsa. So 3 plaintiffs, I showed you who they were just a second ago, sued the City of Tulsa and other defendants. They based their claims on Oklahoma's public nuisance statute and unjust enrichment. Now, I talked about unjust enrichment in a video I did a few weeks ago about reparations. Go watch that video and you will see what unjust enrichment is as it's defined here in Texas, and it's really similar to Oklahoma. Now, why the plaintiff...
Reparations now! Reparations forever! Reparations now! Reparations forever! I just gotta say, that's my story. I'm sticking with it. I want us to just focus on, there's so much interest, especially by our young black men, that can't wait to see the NBA draft at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. And Barclays Bank was also allegedly insurers of slave ships. Oh, Big C, can't we just watch the game? Think about how much emphasis we put on the NBA draft compared to reparations. And I wanted you to hear the legal mind of the Defiant lawyers, Attorney Augustus Corbett, on the Legal Action Network that I love being affiliated with Big C Sports, because I want to make sure that justice is done by good people. I just talked about the California Reparations Task Force and how our mind is a jump within the waist. It's about the vote, the pen to the paper. And then you hear an attorney, Augustus Corbett, from the Defiant Network. But for the most part, our sports brethren all over the universe, they want to say touchdown, home run, 3-point play, old man Willie, he's going all the way. While the Oklahoma Supreme Court, they struck down a ruling for reparations in Oklahoma based on the Tulsa massacre. Think about that as we stand in line for the tip-off. And reparations is more important than the NBA draft. But most of our people were so hoodwinked and can't wait to stand up for the tip-off. You can't say you don't know about it when you hear Big C Sports Podcast. I was saying for the Negro League, the baseball down in Alabama, they were trying to pay homage to it. They had Reggie Jackson on, and he talked about the staunch racism down in Alabama. And there was A-Rod, Big Papi, and I think Mariano Rivera there. And then there was a broadcaster, white guy, that said, I had no idea that it was so difficult for you. What? You think about that as you're standing up for the NBA tip-off, and reparations right now is asking for the same support. And we as a people, we sit around and stand up for the tip-off. And then Senator Bradford needs our support. California Governor Gavin Newsom needs our support. New York City Governor Kathy Hochul needs our support. And we have the presidential debate coming up, and everybody talks about what's reparations. I had no idea things were different. You rich? What do you mean we need reparations? Look at all these rich athletes. No, we do need it. Well, that's my story. I'm going to stick with it. I have some things I want to say about my own guide to protect, preserve, and transfer wealth, resource development consulting, in conjunction with the law office of Scott Thibodeau and the law office of attorney George Jones. The missing link is called long-term solutions and long-term care solutions by the book. It's important. I love doing that with Big C Sports Podcast because you're not going to hear it on other programs. They have no idea what African Americans went through because they didn't have to go through it. Helping seniors get their benefits over 3 decades of experience. Medicare and You, taking care of tomorrow in California, is called Medi-Cal. Your family and spouse can avoid the spend down for nursing home costs. Find out your options. I promise to you. 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. We specialize to navigate and maximize your long-term care benefits, protection of your assets, the way they didn't do it in protection of the assets of people in Oklahoma. Without a spend down in California, all paperwork and communication with all government agencies are handled by our staff of entitlement specialists, ongoing consulting to provide updates as necessary, benefits covering skilled nursing facilities, prescription medications, and medical equipment costs. Have you ever known anyone that dealt with skilled nursing facilities? Have you ever known anyone that dealt with medical prescriptions? Have you ever known anyone that deal with medical equipment costs? And more, not only that, protection of your assets, including your home, thereby allowing you to leave a legacy for your family, avoiding the nightmare of debt brought by the government's estate recovery program called probate. Can be from 10 to 40%. If you don't have a will and a trust, believe me, the probate court has a will for you, and you will not like it. They'll come after all your assets. If that makes sense to you, you need a one-time processing fee versus monthly insurance premiums for the rest of your life. Not only that, I'm not done yet. What does a trust do? Protection, insurance coverage required by law, general liability, workers' compensation, lawyers specializing in living trust, Medicaid or Medi-Cal planning for long-term care, avoid probate, life insurance, veterans benefits, aid and attendance, pre-planning, and avoid the look-back period. It protects your fixed assets, your bank account, checking account, savings account, money market account, certificates of deposit, life insurance with cash values, fixed indexed annuities, and your variable assets, real estate, qualified money, IRAs, 401ks, other investments. Avoid capital gains. The step-up basis, say you buy a house for $100,000, like they had in Tulsa, Oklahoma 100 years ago. Let's say it appreciates to $1 million. That's a $900,000 capital gains. You avoid the capital gains with a trust. Over 3 decades of experience. Attention business owners, find out your other options to protect what your insurance does not cover. 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. The Oklahoma Supreme Court, they said down with your civil rights protections to descendants of child slavery. They told them no. Oh, we don't need no reparations. The Supreme Court of the United States, they said no to the beautiful, intelligent black people, African Americans, that had everything stolen from them. We deserve reparations. And I'm part of that with the National Black Wall Street Project. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Not only that, we have endorsements for the RDC team that Big C Sports is a part of. We have the Mr. George Jones. He's the chair of the California Black Chamber of Commerce. We have also the California Black Chamber of Commerce Foundation. Not only that, we have Mr. Leon Woods with Resource Development Consultant, works with many of the top lobbyists in California. Not only that, we have Ms. Cheryl Brown. She's the chair of the California Commission on Aging. Not only that, we have Mr. Ray Dela Cruz, the CEO of Resource Development Consultant, had the endorsement of the CalPERS top legal mind, the late Robert Carlson. Not only that, we have Mr. Alex Dela Cruz, founder of America's Veterans Benefits. Not only that, Charlton Curry, National Black Wall Street Project co-chair, also business development consultant with the RDC team. Not only that, owner of Big C Sports Podcast, and our chaplain, Reparations Now, Reparations Forever. Not only that, we have Double O, payout committee for the National Black Wall Street Project, consultant for the RDC team, has her own economics awareness talk show called Let's Eat Wilma! You can Google it on Access Sacramento. It's all great. It's all great. So I want to say, for people who say, oh, we don't need no reparations, I let you listen to the Defiant Lawyers, Augustus Corbett, attorney, and he's focusing on reparations on a nationwide level as the NBA's only focused on the NBA draft. And they've trained our black men to say nothing about reparations. It's amazing how they've done that. They're trying to give them money, but where they came from, they're trying to give them a little bit of static, but it's going to go through. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I believe in either lead, follow, or get out of the way, and that's what I do with the Big C Sports Podcast. Not everybody likes my style. When I started the show, I let you hear some good old boys talking about black guys. And these black players that they get to cover so these networks can make tens of millions of dollars. That's important. You got to understand, they say nothing about reparations. They just want you to be drunk in love. And don't worry about what the Supreme Court is doing to our people as we are breathing.
In 16 years. Congratulations again to the Celtics on a record-setting 18th NBA title. To the fans here in Brooklyn and watching around the world, thank you for your support throughout the season. We wouldn't be here without you.
Reparations now!
Let's get started.
Reparations forever! No talk of reparations.
The first pick
but here you go with more basketball.
The 2024 NBA draft belongs to the Atlanta Hawks, who have 5 minutes to make their selection.
Reparations now! Reparations forever! I want you to hear what they really think of our beautiful, intelligent black man. Just make me some money! Where's my money? What did Two Live Crew sing in the last song? They said, show me the money! That wasn't Two Live Crew, Big C. That was Tom Cruise. Okay, but you understand the point. They were saying, show me the money. And when it comes to the Supreme Court, they're saying, not only are we not going to show you the money, we're going to throw out your case. But you wouldn't know that many African-American athletes would know that because they're so focused on the NBA draft. You have the NBA commissioner, Adam Silver. He said nothing about reparations now, reparations forever. But they're making their money off the bodies of black bodies. And they know it. Why not just do the right thing? At least talk about the Just Act for descendants of child slavery. People say, oh, Big C, can't we just watch the draft? Maybe that's what they'll be stuck to, just watching the draft.
Williams was drafted 45, to what Corey was just speaking about. 3-time Sixth Man of the Year. He knew how to come off the bench and score points, same way Jamal Crawford did. Some of these players you don't know. Manu Ginobili was 57. Talking to 2-time All-NBA player. Jalen Brunson may be an All-NBA first team multiple times. He might be an MVP in this league. People don't know. Everybody's at Wemby, everybody knew Wemby. But there are a lot of players in this draft that are going to emerge and be very, very productive players in the NBA.
Seth, you talked about how it's where you go also, right? Like it's where you land and the situation you are put in, and whether or not a player can thrive. Is that also a key in this draft as we watch these players get picked?
I think fit's the most important thing for a young player. There's no doubt about it. And the team you go to, the culture, the veteran players on that team, the opportunity, and the fit are pivotal. Like, we talk about Zach Edey. Yeah. I mean, Zach Edey's got to go to the right organization. He's got to go to the right organization. He's got to go to the right roster for him to be successful. But those older guys, especially, Alan, to me, the older, quote-unquote, guys that have stuck around college 3 or 4 years, we're seeing it year in year. I mean, Hawkins, we've seen, obviously, Brunson, Mikal Bridges, guys that have kind of stayed the course and are a little bit more mature. They're more ready. Corey, how many years you stay in the league?
7 years.
7 years. How many years you stay in college?
2.5.
Reparations now?
I played 2.5.
Reparations forever. After the Supreme Court in Oklahoma just struck down
Corey Alexander, a first-round pick,
a court case to repair and compensate.
That's a good point, because Corey experienced it firsthand.
Surviving members of the Oklahoma
first-round draft pick
massacre.
Your life.
We're focused on sports.
It was the only thing he thought of.
Without black men, there'd be no NBA.
All these guys that we're looking at,
there'd be no NBA.
This is arguably the
and they won't even pay homage to the talk of reparations, which is the biggest issue right now in the 2024 election. I love sports, but we can do both. We can do both.
And their families.
We can do both.
PJ, and when you consider the fact there's always a conversation, especially when you get to tomorrow now with the draft being 2 days, would you rather not be drafted so you can choose? I can tell you right now, everyone with a microphone in front of them right now, all of us talking, you want to hear your name called.
Absolutely.
And regardless as to whether it's 1 or 58 in this year's draft, you want to hear your name. We all grew up loving this game. We begin the 2024 NBA draft. Here's the commissioner.
Draft. The Atlanta Hawks select Zachary Rizache from Lyon, France, and France's J.L. Boron-Bress.
Bobby Marks, player profile.
An athletic wing with good size, Rizache is a long and fluid athlete who moves like a guard. A versatile shooter, Rizache excels in catch-and-shoot situations. A stellar perimeter defender with great instincts.
The first racially integrated team in Birmingham was the 1964 Barons. They were affiliated with the then Kansas City A's. Those A's owned by Charlie Finley, a Birmingham native, and he changed the name to the Birmingham Athletics after the 65 season. Those A's minor league teams boasted some Hall of Fame talent like Reggie Jackson and Raleigh Fingers. The 67 team, widely considered the greatest minor league team of all time. And with that, good transition to welcome in the Hall of Famer who played on that 67 team, Reggie Jackson, joining us now. Reggie, great to see you. And, on a night, on a week that we remember in honor of Willie Mays, I just wanted to point out for maybe the non-baseball fan watching tonight, wanted to thank Barry Bonds for joining us because Willie was his godfather, and they were so close, and he was emotional. Right. So it was hard for him to come up here and do that, and we appreciate that. I thought it was so great. But let's ask you, Reggie, I know a little hard to hear here with all the music and noise going on. What did Willie Mays mean to you?
Gosh, I think Willie Mays meant to me the same thing that he meant to most people. He was a Baryshnikov on the baseball field. As far as being given the most skills, you've got Babe Ruth, you've got Hank Aaron, you've got Lou Gehrig, you've got Barry Bonds, you've got Alex Rodriguez. These guys that were gifted all of these skills, but the guy that got the most skills, I believe, of anyone, run, throw, hit with power, defense, as well as baseball instincts. He had 6 rather than 5. Was really a special player. I think that he had a lot of things to say about the game, but at the time when Willie was playing, Hank Aaron was playing, the Willie McCoveys were playing, the Bob Gibsons were playing, they grew up in an era when you had to complain about the game or complain about society, you suppressed it. Today's player doesn't do that.
Well, I tell you,
the Frenchmen are taking over, though. You guys are taking over the NBA.
Alex Sarr.
Again, and we do.
Air France. Australia's first Wildcats of the NBL.
That's amazing.
All right, Jackie, we need a scouting report on Alex. What's he like?
What's he like? Let's hear it.
All right. Zachary Riza-Shea, the number 1 pick in the draft. And as you just heard, Adam Silver announcing the number 2 pick in the draft. The Washington Wizards, who, according to Woj, made a deal. They'll have 3 first-round picks. This is the first of them. And it's Alex Sarr, another Frenchman. So France has taken over the NBA draft so far at the very top of the draft, Corey.
Top pick last year, and then, of course, you had a number 7 pick in Bilal Coulibaly for the Washington Wizards. Right. So now you've got 2 Frenchmen in Washington with Coulibaly, now Alex Sarr joining. So the international influence on the nation's capital is becoming relevant. Mm-hmm. And again, Will Dawkins, Michael Winger in their second year at the head of the Washington Wizards, going with the European flavor, that skill to be able to help them rebuild the Wiz.
Smart. 3 first-round picks.
Yeah.
The deal George talked about, they've got number 2, which they just made, number 14, they got from Portland, and then number 26, if they keep him. Ted Leonsis is walking around with a big smile, their owner. I can understand
He had a powwow with you, and you got him all straight
down.
Everything goes in Brooklyn.
He asked me what I thought because he was trying to eliminate some
things not to do. I'll tell you one thing, SARS.
Today we begin with an examination of the movement to provide reparations to Black Americans over their ancestors' slave status. Demands are growing. It's raising difficult questions about a dark side of America's past and whether, going on 2 centuries later, people who never met a slave should be paid by people who never owned any. And if so, how much is enough to atone for the unthinkable?
It's incredible. Corey, we've watched this. I mean, I was at the Kentucky Pro Day, and Reed Sheppard was just trying to fit in. I mean, legitimately, he was trying to fit in. And he more than fit in. He's a world-class shot maker. He's a world-class advanced passer. And you'll really have to relate to this, PJ. He's got Chris Mullin-type hands.
At a time of tremendous disparity, the wealth gap, for example, between the white community and the black community is like 10-1. Health disparities are terrible. Environmental disparities are terrible. Flint, Michigan comes to mind. Yeah. So I think what we have got to do is pay attention to distressed communities, black communities, Latino communities, and white communities all over this country. And as president, I pledge to do that. Reparations.
By reparations for slave defenders.
I know, but what does that mean exactly?
Money.
Well, I think that right now our job is to address the crises facing the American people and our communities. And I think there are better ways to do that than just writing out a check.
I mean, being here is unbelievable. It's been a dream since I've been a little kid, and being able to do it now and hearing my name called and having my family sitting at my table and my family in the crowd. It's my mom's birthday today. Oh, wow. So this is an unbelievable night for us. It's amazing. I'm a loss of words. I'm just super thankful to be in the position I'm in.
Your story's incredible, honestly. Your family's success in Kentucky, going to Kentucky. But I was there early in the season. How did you get from pro day to the 3rd round pick in the NBA draft? Because I grabbed you after pro day. I said, hey, you're as good as anyone on the floor. How did you get to that point where you said, hey, let's go?
And you go against them every day in practice, and it's really fun playing, and it's so you get so good. You get better and better every day. So it's just really fun going and competing.
And when you consider the opportunities that you had at Kentucky,
reparations now, reparations forever. I love doing this podcast. You got the NBA draft, and you've heard attorneys Augusta Corbett with the Defiant Lawyers Network talking about the Supreme Court of Oklahoma that struck down the case for the descendants who lost everything in the Tulsa, Oklahoma race massacre. But juxtaposed to that, we have NBA basketball players making the dreams come true. Today at the California Senate, they tabled the meeting, the assembly, to vote on Senate Bill 1403, Senate Bill 1331, and Senate Bill 1050. And for the masses of African Americans, most of us will benefit more from reparations than we will a few NBA players being drafted. No disrespect to them. I wish them all the very best. But I would just hope that as beautiful, intelligent African Americans, descendants of child of slavery, that we can put the same kind of energy into supporting our senators for reparations, so we can also celebrate the JUST Act, the JUST Act for descendants of child of slavery. That's important. You see, we can blend both together. It's not anathema to blend both together, but for the most part, mainstream, they pretend like everything is great. There's no problem. I let you hear Reggie Jackson with the Negro League Baseball and inclusion into Major League Baseball, and he talked about some of the issues that had gone on in society during Jim Crow that were horrible. Attorney Augustus Corbett also mentioned the same thing, and I love blending that with Big C Sports Podcast. As I say, but you won't hear elsewhere, reparations now, reparations forever. Reparations now, reparations forever. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Today's show is different. Every show on Big C Sports Podcast is different. Wilma! That's my paying homage to the Flintstones. Only one person in the universe knows what that means. Wilma! Oh, Lucy, I'm home! Lucy, I'm home. Wilma! I just love today. What a great day, Big C Sports Podcast. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it because I do believe that reparations will happen this year before the election of 2024. I've been right about many things that I talk about. I also won the lottery tonight. Give that some praise and let me strike. Well, as I always tell you, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. Because mothers against drunk drivers are mad. And fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can call Uber, you can call Lyft, you can walk it off, you can sleep it off, but don't let someone you love get behind the wheel of the car and start driving after they've been drinking. The life you say may be your own, or someone you love, or someone who loves you, or someone that somebody else loves. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, as my beautiful mother always says, there's never ever an excuse for racism. If somebody's hit you, I only hit you because you make me mad. Call 911. If somebody's kicking you, I only kicked you because you make me mad. Call 911. If somebody's choking you out, I only choked you out because you make me mad. Call 911. No man, woman, or child should ever have to put up with that crap. You need more leader in your life. Leader is love is the answer, if that makes sense to you. Well, as I always tell you, I love paying homage to my beautiful family legacy on my great-grandmother's side. My great-grandmother, my great-grandfather, call them Mama and Pop. My grandmother, Mudia, and my grandfather, Hezekiah, and then love them with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And I can always depend on my mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. Started a Head Start program, a food program, and coached an all-boys Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe. Always saying, rise and shine, the best person I ever met in my life. I love my mama with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. On my father's side, it's amazing. My grandparents, Albert and Albert Curry. Albert and Alberta, they were pastors. They actually owned 3 churches and owned 2 gas stations in Oakland. I was 8 years old walking through the hallway about 10 o'clock at night, and I felt someone touch me in my forehead. And she said, what are you doing, young man? Going to get some more cookies? I said, what are you doing, Grandma? It's 10 o'clock at night. You normally go to bed at 8:30. She said, what are you doing, young man? Going to get some cookies? I said, cookies and baby crap. What I'm doing, Grandma? I'm going to get my reparations. But a couple of cookies wouldn't hurt. It's been a long week. She said, there's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak. And now I'm on 29 podcast platforms, the streaming on 4 TV platforms. Love my grandparents with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful father, former United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, always making sure that planes can fly high so we can always stay safe at night. Always saying develop your mind to its highest extent. Love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful brother Todd with that bombastic voice, sound like thunder and lightning when Todd would speak. A voracious reader, always saying go forward. In fact, he said don't look back because you don't have much backside to look at. He said I didn't have a nice derriere. I love my backside. If that makes sense to you, love Todd with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful daughter Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees with honors in 3.5 years from a major university. Daisy, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. You can be anything you want to be. Daisy set up the very first interview for Big C Sports Podcast back at Salem Media. It became the first time in the history of the United States that NFL Monday Night Football started broadcasting live on the Wall Street Business Network. They had never done it before until 2 black men in the crew started doing our thing. And Daisy, you can be anything. I just love you. I love you so much. I'm so proud of you. Always, always love you. Love your family. Every day is a gift. Always trust God, Isaiah 54:17. Love you with everything I have. Then my beautiful, handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College graduate, very smart, erudite, a good man. Malcolm could be anything you want to be. Malcolm helped me save trees. I used to always get the newspaper and look up stats for players and teams for Big C Sports Podcast. One day, Malcolm said, Dad, why don't you just Google it? And a light bulb went off. I've been Googling ever since. And then one day, Malcolm said, Dad, you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, sure. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV, and say, play Big C Sports. You'll see your show come up. That's before it was even on the air. Now it's streaming on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Malcolm always trusts God, Isaiah 54:17, that no weapon formed against him will ever prosper. I love you with everything I have. And then Big C, with all that wealth of knowledge over the years, always saying you gotta believe, you gotta believe, you gotta believe. Say, let's get ready to rumble. I love saying welcome to the show. SB nominated Big C Sports Podcast. I have no scripts. I have no 3-man teleprompters. I have no producer in my ear. All I have is this gland in the brain called the pineal gland. The ancients called it the third eye. And they said that's how you talk to God. Wilma! That's how Fred Flintstone talk to God. I tend to scream a little bit louder when I talk to God. That's my story. And I'm thinking that I wanted $6 billion. Imagine if God said, yes, I've heard growing up you have not because you ask not. In the book of James, chapter 4, verse 2. I want to win the lotto. In fact, I won the lottery tonight, God. Tonight. I love saying tonight on the beautiful June 26th, 2024. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Let's honor what the presidential debate would be about on Thursday night. They're going to ask him, do you believe in miracles? I mean, they're going to say, do you believe in reparations now? Reparations forever. They're going to have Joe Biden and Donald Trump on the stage. They did not invite Dr. Cornel West, the leader of the Independent Party. They're going to say, do you believe in reparations now? Reparations forever. And we'll see what Donald Trump and Joe Biden says. I say, I give you one more time. If you want the black vote, do you believe in reparations now? Reparations forever. Well, that's my story. I'm sticking with it. Back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He's known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, and you sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat. And every time I listen to Big C Sports, I want to champion reparations now, reparations forever. I thank you. I appreciate you. And I hope that you have a super fantastic day.